the vehicle flies in the direction of travel towards splashdown. The raise burn that places us in our final orientation for angle of attack into entry interface. That raise burn is scheduled at 6:37 p.m. Central Time. Entry interface itself is scheduled at 6:53 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time. When we hit the top of the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling about 34,800 feet per second. We expect our peak velocity just a few moments later, and that peak velocity is forecast by flight dynamics to be 34,965 feet per second, or 23,839 miles an hour. Now, this all occurs after we begin the blackout period of 6 minutes. We will lose communications with the vehicle just 24 seconds after we enter the Earth's atmosphere or entry interface, as you see there. This is an expected 6-minute blackout that will begin at 6:53 and 55 seconds p.m. Central Time and will last almost until 7 p.m. straight up Central Time. Once we regain communications with the crew following the blackout, we will continue a series of roll reversals. These are gentle rolls to the left and back to the right, essentially bleeding off excess energy and excess heat on the vehicle as we approach the splashdown site. The vehicle is expected to go subsonic at 7:02 and 25 seconds p.m. Central Time. That's about 8.5 or almost 9 minutes after the beginning of entry interface. And at that point, we will be at an altitude of 59,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean. A series of parachute deployments will begin. The first of that will be the forward bay cover parachutes. That will basically pull the top forward bay cover off the very top of the vehicle, allowing other parachute deployment activities to occur. The forward bay cover chute deployment is scheduled at 7:03 and 22 seconds p.m. Central Time at an altitude of 23,946 feet. The forward bay cover parachutes are used in conjunction with pyrotechnic thrusters to ensure the separation of that forward bay cover, protecting Orion and its parachutes during the heat of reentry. Following that, there'll be the deployment of drogue chutes. These are 2 drogue parachutes, 23 feet in diameter. These drogue chutes will be deployed at an altitude of 23,483 feet. At this point, our velocity will have slowed from almost 24,000 feet per second to just 470 feet per second in a matter of minutes. 3 pilot parachutes will be used to lift and deploy the main parachutes from the crew module forward bay. Those main parachutes, 3 of them, are used to slow the crew module down to a splashdown at a speed that ensures astronaut safety. Each main parachute 265 feet in length from the crew module attachment to the top when inflated. The main chute deployment is scheduled at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time. Now that's just 11 minutes and 13 seconds after the start of entry interface. At this point, we'll be at an altitude of 5,445 feet above the Pacific. And splashdown to complete this mission is scheduled at 7:07 and 7 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, 2.5 hours before sunset. The crew will splash down in the Pacific southwest of San Diego at a gentle rate of just 19 miles an hour. Following splashdown, the flight control team here in Houston is not done. Our work is just beginning at that point as we begin the process of powering down the vehicle. This is after we have established communications with the crew through a very low data rate system The communications link will no longer be active through the tracking and data relay satellite system, so we're going to be going to a very low data rate system. We hope to establish communications with the crew fairly rapidly. That's not guaranteed. It depends on the orientation of the vehicle. The likelihood is the vehicle will splash down upright in what's known as stable 1. Whether it's upright or in some other orientation, we'll begin the process of inflating 5 inflatable airbags that are positioned in a circumferential manner around the forward bay cover at the top of integrity. These airbags will be inflated through helium. Those 5 airbags will guarantee the proper orientation upright for the spacecraft through the rest of the process of extracting the crew, which should take some 45 minutes to an hour to complete. Navy divers, fast boats, a pair of Navy helicopters, other recovery personnel will come alongside the vehicle to begin erecting an inflatable raft called the front porch that the crew will be extracted into. You've seen that in movies. You've seen it in the Apollo program and archival footage. And one by one, the crew will be hoisted in alternating fashion to 2 hovering Navy helicopters for the trip back to the deck of the USS John Murtha, where they will leave the helicopters and move into medical bay on the ship for comprehensive medical examinations. As the astronauts aboard Integrity are in the process of stowing final items in the cabin before they move into their entry checklists, a final review of the procedures and the timelined activities for the rest of this mission. The next major milestone, once again, will be the separation of the European service module, which has performed valiantly throughout the course of this flight, from the crew module. That pyrotechnic separation scheduled 3 hours and 41 minutes from now. Just 3.5 minutes after that will be the crew module raise burn. That raise burn is scheduled at 6:37 p.m. Central Time. It's expected to be about a 19-second firing of the crew module thrusters in one final opportunity to fine-tune the angle of attack for Integrity as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Splashdown 4 hours, 14 minutes from now, southwest of San Diego, where the weather is forecast to be ideal. Just some broken and scattered clouds expected, 10-knot winds, wave heights less than 4 feet. You couldn't ask for a better day out in the Pacific for the homecoming of the first crew to fly aboard the Orion spacecraft. At a mission elapsed time of 8 days, 21 hours, 18 minutes into the flight, this is Mission Control Houston.
Houston Integrity, Jackie, steps 10 and 11 are complete.
Houston copies, steps 10 and 11. You guys are on track, looking great.
For those just joining, this view of the key players here in Mission Control, part of a flight control team. Rick Henfling, second from the right, is the entry flight director for this mission. Seated to his left is Judd Freeling, who was the flight director for Ascent back on April 1st. Jackie Mahaffey is second from the left. She is the Capcom whose voice you'll be hearing throughout the course of the afternoon and evening, talking directly to Integrity's astronauts through splashdown. Stan Love, a veteran astronaut, is on the far left of your screen. He was the Ascent Capcom. He's joining Mahaffey today as a second set of eyes on all the data that we'll be discussing and hearing from the crew during the course of their high-speed entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. And this is Mission Control Houston. You can see one of the helicopters that will be involved in the recovery operations, having taken off from the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. Recovery operations underway. Several helicopters will be employed not just for recovery, but for imagery activities. On the deck of the John P. Murtha, a view of multiple views, camera views, that are being provided to us courtesy of the USS John P. Murtha that we'll be utilizing throughout the course of the evening in our coverage. Once we start the NASA Plus coverage at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, that's a simulcast of our 24/7 YouTube coverage. My colleague from the Kennedy Space Center, Megan Cruz, is on the Murtha, and she'll be providing updates and interviews as well as we continue our operational coverage of the recovery of the Integrity astronauts following their lunar flyby mission.
Houston, integrity for toilet configure for return.
Go ahead.
We have an empty canister. Can you confirm that I don't need to do steps 1.2 to 1.4?
Checking. And Christina, we concur you do not need to perform the steps you listed.
Thanks, Jackie.
This is Mission Control Houston, 8 days, 21 hours, 38 minutes into the flight of Integrity on the Artemis 2 mission. On board, all is quiet, as it is here in Mission Control, with everything moving along in trip hammer fashion, in good shape, all of Integrity's systems in great shape, and the weather at the splashdown zone off the coast of San Diego couldn't be better. A forecast of go conditions with winds of just 10 knots, wave heights less than 4 feet, ideal conditions for the recovery of Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen following their splashdown, which is just 3 hours and 53 minutes from now. The next major milestone coming up in 3 hours and 19 minutes, that will be the separation of the crew module from the European service module that has performed perfectly during the course of the flight. The service module separation from the crew module scheduled at 6:33 p.m. Central Time. Just 4 minutes later, there will be a slight maneuver, a raise burn as it is called. This will tilt the aft end of the crew module upward ever so slightly in one final opportunity to refine the flight path angle, the angle of attack, if you will, as Integrity enters the Earth's atmosphere at the point called entry interface. That is at 6:53 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time, or some 16 minutes after the raise burn itself. All of these events will be happening fairly rapidly as we move over the next few hours toward a splashdown of the crew and a completion of a mission that will have totaled 694,481 miles from launch to splashdown.
Houston, integrity for timeline.
Christina, we're with you.
Hey, Jackie. You guys okay if we start entry checklist 30 minutes early?
Checking. And integrity, Houston, for entry checklist. We are ready for you to begin 18.0.1 entry checklist, steps 1 through 6.
Copy. We're go entry checklist 1 through 6. Thanks.
And step 3 for GPS can be skipped. GPS has been powered and it still looks good.
Copy. Step 3 is a skip.
This is Mission Control Houston at a mission elapsed time of 8 days, 21 hours, 50 minutes into the flight of Integrity on the Artemis 2 mission. The crew is completing the configuration of the crew cabin. Soon they'll be breaking out their launch and entry suits in preparation for donning those suits and conducting leak checks as we get a bit further along in the entry preparation time frame. Meanwhile, we're looking forward to the next major milestone. That will be the separation of the crew module from the European service module 3 hours and 7 minutes from now. That's scheduled to occur at 6:33 p.m. Central Time, 7:33 p.m. Eastern Time. 4 minutes after that, we'll conduct a raise burn. This will be about a 19-second firing of Integrity's thrusters with a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second. That will adjust the angle of attack of the vehicle by gently tipping the aft end of Integrity higher, if you will, like sitting in a reclining chair and basically leaning back a bit. This angle of attack adjustment is specifically designed and pre-planned to enter the Earth's atmosphere at entry interface later this evening at the proper angle to minimize heating effects on Integrity's heat shield. It's worth mentioning once again that the difference between this entry and the uncrewed entry of Artemis 1 is that on Artemis 1, we flew a trajectory known as a skip entry, which involves an initial dip into the atmosphere to dissipate some energy, and then we lofted back out of the atmosphere briefly, then dipped back in a second time before splashing down in the Pacific. After the flight, the post-flight inspection and video analysis showed that there was an area of mechanical char liberation that was not expected. And so after extensive analysis and the review of an independent review team, it was determined to adjust the entry profile for Artemis 2, minimizing the range of entry from 3,178 nautical miles to a distance of just 1,775 nautical miles across the Pacific. So instead of 20 minutes of exposure to heating effects, today we're going to only encounter 13.5 minutes of heat loads on the vehicle. Our intended splashdown target is about 1,701 nautical miles downrange from the point of entry interface. It will be about 13.5 minutes from the time that we enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet at 6:53 and 31 seconds p.m. Central Time to the point of splashdown at 7:07 and 7 seconds p.m. Central Time. In that brief 13.5-minute period, peak heating on the vehicle should be about 4,000 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat to be repelled by Integrity's heat shield, as it is for any vehicle entering the Earth's atmosphere that has a crew on board. The crew should be experiencing a G load on their bodies of about 3.9 Gs at peak loads on the crew members, feeling the tug of Earth's gravity for the first time in 9 days. We will decelerate from a speed of 23,839 miles an hour just after we begin the blackout period of 6 minutes in duration to a splashdown velocity of just 19 miles an hour. All that happening in rapid fire succession. Splashdown now 3 hours and 36 minutes from now. 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. The USS John P. Murtha is on station. Some of the airborne assets, helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft, are taking off in sequential fashion from the deck of the ship. These are imagery assets. the actual Navy recovery helicopters that will hoist the crew out of the front porch, inflatable raft that will be erected alongside the hatchway to Integrity. And there's a view, a live view from the deck of the USS John P. Murtha. It is a bit overcast. We do expect those clouds to lift a bit over the next few hours. We should have some broken and scattered clouds. It won't be crystal clear blue skies out there in the Pacific, but the weather is go and forecast to be go by the Spaceflight Meteorology Group. The Navy helicopters will be hovering over the spacecraft once it is powered down, and once it is guaranteed to be uprighted through the inflation of the 5 crew module uprighting system airbags that will take place shortly after splashdown. The Navy divers and Navy flight surgeon will pull alongside the spacecraft to begin the process of erecting the front porch. Then they will open up the hatch and begin to extract the crew members one by one. They'll have an opportunity to get their land legs back a bit before they're hoisted one by one in harnesses up inside the 2 awaiting helicopters. They'll be hoisted up in alternating fashion, so there'll be two crew members for each helicopter for the short ride back to the Murtha. Once they arrive on the deck of the ship, they'll be brought into medical bay for comprehensive medical exams. That is all part of the post-flight medical evaluation of these crew members as they complete their mission around the moon and back to Earth.
Integrity Houston for entry checklist.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Hey, Reed, a couple of questions for you. We realized we didn't give you an explicit thumbs up to perform step 1.2 for the flight path angle hash mark update, so we wanted to confirm that you did in fact perform the set EI FPA limits procedure. And secondly, we want your opinion on the in and out CMIS caution. Is that something that will be distracting such that we should inhibit it.
Okay, we are going to go execute 1.2. We had skipped that, and we would prefer to inhibit the CMOS caution on board.
Okay, we copy, and just to close the loop on that, that will mean on flight.landing you would not have a yellow or down arrow indication if that does stay below the threshold.
And that is totally fine. To deactivate the toilet.
Houston copies. Putting that in work.
This is Mission Control Houston. That communication from Christina Cook on board Integrity to spacecraft communicator Stan Love.
Integrity for burn telemetry on CM or raise burn. 2 questions.
Go for CM raise questions.
Hey Jackie, we see a Delta V tote on our display of 9.9, which is fairly close to the 8.5 on the entry pad, but our TIGO on the display is 44 seconds, and the entry pad estimated 19 seconds. Can y'all take a look at that for us?
Hey Reed, good catch. The explanation there is that Delta V is about what we expect update-wise, but the TIGO calculation is not understanding that you will not have the SM when you burn CM raised. So it's doing a different mass calculation there.
I remember that class in November of 2023 in Building 5 on the 3rd floor. Thank you very much.
This is Mission Control Houston. Commander Reed Wiseman inquiring about the values for the upcoming crew module raise burn. Again, as we've explained, this burn that's scheduled 2 hours and 51 minutes from now is designed to tilt the angle of attack a bit upward, basically raising the aft end of the vehicle prior to entry interface to improve the angle of attack and minimize heating effects on the heat shield for the Orion vehicle. The crew module raise burn will occur about 4 minutes after the service module is separated from the crew module, and we're expecting about a 19-second burn.
Integrity, Houston, the toilet is unpowered.
Christina Rogers, thank you.
The crew module raise burn is expected to be 19 seconds in duration, with a change in velocity of about 9.9 feet per second. Once again, that's designed to fine-tune the angle of attack for integrity as it enters the Earth's atmosphere, which will occur about 16.5 minutes after the raise burn itself. And as you heard, spacecraft communicator Jackie Mahaffey relaying that we have sent commands to turn off the ship's potty, so it is no longer to be used for the remainder of the mission, with splashdown scheduled 3 hours and 19 minutes from now. The 4 crew members on board Integrity, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen, are in the process of completing the stowage of items in the crew cabin before they move into their entry checklist, basically looking through all of the chronological procedures that lie ahead for the rapid-fire succession of all of the events that will unfold over the course of the next 3 hours. Integrity is about 25,000 nautical miles from Earth, continuing to accelerate towards a splashdown in the Pacific 3 hours and 18 minutes from now. All of Integrity's systems are in excellent shape. The crew is great, feeling well, and the weather in the splashdown zone in the Pacific, although a bit cloudy with broken and scattered clouds, is a go forecast with just 10-knot winds and wave heights less than 4 feet. Views from
Integrity Houston for a post-RTC3 tracking update.
Go ahead, Houston.
Hey, the post-RTC3 tracking looks great. So good, in fact, that if we got to CM rays and did not yet have GPS acquisition, we would still be go for CM rays from that perspective. And so overall, I can confirm the post-RTC3 trajectory is within EI limits.
All right, Jackie, we love that. That says a lot about our FIDO folks in this vehicle.
This is Mission Control Houston. A tip of the hat from Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen to the flight dynamics folks and the guidance, navigation, and control officer. The RTC-3 burn that was conducted just over 2 hours ago which was basically a final fine-tuning of the trajectory of integrity to hit the sweet spot in the corridor over the Pacific Ocean for entry interface, was so perfect that we are dead on the center line down the corridor. And the crew module raise burn that is scheduled at 6:37 p.m. Central Time, and which will be conducted, is only required to lift the aft end of the vehicle ever so slightly by a degree or two to improve the angle of attack of the spacecraft as it enters the atmosphere, mitigating peak heating effects on the heat shield for integrity. But our trajectory is dead set, right on the money, right down the pike, heading for a splashdown 3 hours and 10 minutes from now at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
AI generated videos have taken over it. Are you feeling overwhelmed, searching AI tools, and still not knowing how to pay attention to you? Depuis Apollo 17,
Houston integrity com check from seat 1.
Seat 1, have you loud and clear coming down on both OE 1 and 2? How me on 1?
Got you loud and clear on 1, Jackie. We're going to stay in this config on both 1 and 2, and Reed and Victor are in our seats, slowly proceeding along.
Okay, we copy, and just to confirm, that means that you've got the bulk of your suits donned, is that correct?
Just for Reed and Victor, A-firm. We're not gloved, not helmeted yet.
Copy all. Thanks. Integrity BFS is configured for entry with outputs inhibited. And a reminder, when you get to step 9.3, use your separate instance of 18.3.101 to save off the time.
100%, thanks.
Houston integrity com check from C2.
Victor, have you loud and clear? I'm coming up on 1. How me?
Jackie, I have you loud and clear on 1.
You are loud and clear on 2, Jackie. Houston integrity steps 12, 13, 14, and 15 are complete.
Jeremy, Houston copies. Thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston, 8 days, 22 hours, 55 minutes into the flight of Integrity on the Artemis II mission. On board the vehicle, the 4 crew members, Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialists Jeremy Hansen and Christina Cook are suiting up in their Orion crew survival suits, the launch and entry suits that they also wore during their launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st. Once the crew is all suited up, they'll conduct a series of leak checks to make sure that they have good suit integrity, aboard integrity, before they strap themselves into their seats for the final phase of this mission that will culminate with a splashdown in the Pacific 2 hours and 35 minutes from now at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time, about 2.5 hours before sunset, southwest of San Diego. And the suits are in the process of being leak checked at the present time. We'll relay all that to you in just a few moments. Right now, Integrity is just about 20,000 nautical miles from the Earth, continuing to accelerate towards the next major milestone, which will be the separation of the crew module from the European service module 2 hours and 1 minute from now. That separation maneuver, pyrotechnically, will occur at 6:33 p.m. Central Time. That will be followed just 4 minutes later by a raise burn, a 19-second burn of Integrity's thrusters to induce a change in velocity of 9.9 feet per second, slightly raising up the aft end of the vehicle to improve its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere, and in the process mitigates the peak heating effects on the heat shield of the vehicle. Out in the splashdown zone, out in the Pacific Ocean, the weather is forecast to be go by the Spaceflight Meteorology Group here at the Johnson Space Center. Winds of just about 10 knots and wave heights less than 4 feet, which should be ideal for the recovery forces that are being deployed from the USS John Murtha to recover the crew, extract them, hoist them into 2 Navy helicopters, and fly them back to the deck of the Murtha to be brought into medical bay for post-splashdown medical checks. We now have a report from the environmental systems officer here that we have good suit leak checks. All 4 suits have passed the leak check, so we are in good shape here for entry and splashdown coming up just over 2.5 hours from now. One data point, just an update on some numbers that we've just received from Flight Dynamics, and these are unofficial and will not become official until post-flight. We now anticipate that the maximum speed that Integrity will encounter as it enters the Earth's atmosphere will be right around the same time as we enter a communications blackout of 6 minutes in duration. We're expecting Integrity's peak speed at 6:54 and 4 seconds p.m. Central Time, and at that point the vehicle should be traveling at 24,661.21 miles per hour, which will be just 130 miles short in velocity of the record that was set back in 1969 by the Apollo 10 crew, Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John Young, on their return from orbiting the moon. Once again, that peak speed expected to be reached just a few seconds after the start of entry interface as the vehicle's atmosphere. The peak speed expected to be reached at 6:54 and 4 seconds p.m. Central Time. And that peak speed now estimated by flight dynamics to be 24,661.21 miles per hour, which equates to about Mach 33.
Houston Integrity, seat 1 and 2, leak check complete. Also, we powered up the AGA, and it's giving us a CO2 alarm at 4.4.
We copy leak check. We saw it as well. And copy CO2 at 4.4. We are discussing.
We also on the AGA have a bit A of 16. We've seen that in the past. Should go away.
And Reed, is the AGA been powered for 5 minutes yet, or are we still in that wait period?
We are in the wait period. We expect that bit will go away.
We copy, and that bit can also indicate that we cannot trust the other values, so we'll check back with you after the 5 minutes on the CO2 levels.
A firm.
This is Mission Control Houston. Mission elapsed time of 8 days, 23 hours, 2 minutes into the flight of Integrity on the Artemis 2 mission. While we have a moment here, just an opportunity to run down some of the chronological highlights that lie ahead over the next 2.5 hours before Integrity splashes down in the Pacific Ocean. Coming up at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we will begin a simulcast of NASA Plus coverage that will accompany our 24/7 YouTube coverage that we have been providing ever since we began the mission with the tanking of the Space Launch System at the Kennedy Space Center for launch back on April 1st.
Houston Integrity, we are complete through steps 18. Seats 3 and 4 are yet to suit, obviously.
Jeremy, we copy you completed 16 through 18, and confirm for us whether you needed any adjustments of CIAS in step 17.
Negative. All the settings were still in their launch config.
Houston copies.
Once again, with the leak checks having been successfully completed on the 4 launch and entry suits for the crew members on board Integrity, once again we'll begin our NASA Plus coverage as a simulcast to our 24/7 YouTube coverage in less than an hour at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 6 over communications from the Deep Space Network to the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite System as Integrity continues to approach the Earth. Currently, Integrity is less than 20,000 nautical miles from its destination and a splashdown in the Pacific. We will separate the European service module from the crew module at 6:33 p.m. Central Time. And just 4 minutes later, we'll conduct a raise burn, a 19-second burn of the Integrity thrusters to slightly tilt the vehicle's orientation upward, with the aft end being tilted upward. That will also change the velocity by 9.9 feet per second and complete the orientation of the vehicle for its angle of attack as it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface, where we reach the first traces of Earth's atmosphere and where most of the dynamic operations will then begin. Entry interface is scheduled at 6:53 p.m. Central Time, where integrity will be at an altitude of 400,000 feet above the Earth, traveling at about 34,882 feet per second, with a range to splashdown of 1,701 nautical miles. Just 10 seconds, just a few seconds later, about 24 seconds later, we'll enter a 6-minute communications blackout at 6:53 and 55 seconds p.m. That communications blackout will be due to the buildup of plasma around the vehicle, the ionization of the interaction of the velocity of integrity with the friction of the Earth's applications blackout to last about 6 minutes in duration will start 24 seconds after entry interface. At 6:54 and 4 seconds p.m., we'll reach our peak velocity. This is an estimation from flight dynamics. We should be reaching a peak velocity of 24,661.21 miles per hour, or somewhere around Mach 33. This will fall about 130 miles per hour short of the speed record set by the Apollo 10 command module, the Charlie Brown, during the Apollo 10 mission of Tom Stafford, Gene Cernan, and John Young back in the spring of 1969. Once the communications blackout ends, which is expected just a few seconds before 7 p.m. Central Time, 6:59 and 56 seconds p.m. Central Time, we will be at an altitude of 157,000 feet over the Pacific Ocean, and at that point we should be traveling at about 13,300 per second, range to splashdown of just 147 nautical miles. There will be a series of roll reversals, first to the left, allowing integrity to bank to the left. These are computer commanded, not crew commanded, but computer commanded roll reversals to bank the vehicle first to the left, then to the right. That bleeds off excess energy and helps to reduce the speed and the heating during the final phase of flight. Starting at 7:03 and 22 Central, well, there's a chute deployments. In all, there are 11 parachutes associated with this mission. The first 3 will pull off the forward bay from the top of the vehicle. The forward bay cover chutes are 3. That'll be followed by the deployment of the drogue chutes at 7:03 and 23 seconds p.m. Then 3 pilot parachutes will pull the main parachutes, 3 of them, from the forward bay cover. The forward bay housing all of the parachutes at the very top of Orion. The main chute deploy is scheduled at 7:04 and 44 seconds p.m. The vehicle will have slowed to just a very glacial speed of 198 miles per hour, feet per second, I should say, at that point, at an altitude of 5,400 feet above the Pacific Ocean. The splashdown velocity, of course, will be 0. 19 miles an hour is the velocity that the crew will feel under the 3 main parachutes as they splash down in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego. So a number of major milestones lie ahead. Splashdown time is currently estimated at 7:07 and 7 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 7 seconds p.m. Pacific time. That will conclude a total from launch to splashdown of 694,481 statute miles. We're just 1 hour and 48 minutes away now from crew module service module separation. The crew has donned their launch and entry suits. They've conducted leak checks. Everything is in order, and the weather is go at the splashdown site. Some of the flying assets that will collect imagery of the descent of Integrity towards splashdown have already been deployed from the deck of the USS John Murtha. The actual recovery team members will be deployed in helicopters and fast boats a bit later on as we approach splashdown, and of course after splashdown itself. Once the vehicle splashes down, we'll be deploying the 5 airbags at the top of the vehicle with helium. That will ensure that the vehicle is upright throughout the course of the recovery operations. The team here in Mission Control will check systems on Integrity, make sure that we are not leaking any toxic gases from the spacecraft, and that will be the signal for the start of the power down of Integrity systems and the ability of the first members of the recovery team to approach the vehicle to set up the inflatable life raft called the front porch, which will be used to bring the crew members out of the vehicle into that front porch one by one after the hatch is open to Integrity. We expect the extraction of the crew to be some 45 minutes to an hour after splashdown, which would be about 30 to 45 minutes after the vehicle is powered down.
Integrity, Houston, we are ready for another CO2 reading on the AGA.
It is 5.1.
Houston copies. And Reed, earlier I did misspeak. The CO2 reading specifically would not have been affected by that particular bit.
Okay, sounds good. We just know we're in an ARS suit, and that's very likely contributing to that.
We concur. Integrity Houston for CO2.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Hey, Reed, what we'd like to do is open the ARS ISO valve to mix the cabin and suit loop air for the time being. And we would just need a call from you all when Christina and Jeremy are getting in their seats and are a few minutes out from leak checks, and we'll get that back into a good config for you to start the next leak check.
Hey, Jackie, that's a reasonably good idea. Can we just hang on that for a little bit and see how we're doing?
Yep, up to you. We will wait. Let us know if you'd like that cabin air mixing.
Is there a CO2 number where you guys would advise on that?
Reed, we would not want to go above 7.
Yeah, that's perfect. Let us monitor it for just a couple minutes here. Houston, cabin entry config is complete, and Christina and Jeremy are about to start suit on.
Excellent on cabin config, and copy suit down.
That call from Commander Reed Wiseman aboard Integrity indicating that following the successful leak checks on the 4 launch and entry suits, the crew will begin to actually don those suits now, and then they'll climb into their respective seats, both on the flight deck and the mid deck of the Integrity, in preparation for crew module service module separation that's scheduled 1 hour and 40 minutes from now.
Integrity Houston for enter checklist. Your CMSM SEP ATP is set to go.
We see that on the PFD, Jackie.
And the call from Capcom Jackie Mahaffey here in Mission Control to Reed Wiseman, indicating that the pyros are armed for crew module service module separation coming up 1 hour 38 minutes 52 seconds from now. Integrity now squarely facing the planet Earth, 17,600 nautical miles away, headed for a splashdown 2 hours 12 minutes from now. All of the recovery assets, the helicopters, the Navy P-3s, the para-rescue divers, they're all in place, ready to recover this crew following splashdown. And again, the chronology after splashdown will call for the flight control team here in Houston to assess integrity systems, make sure no toxic gases are leaking from the spacecraft. And first order of business will be the command to inflate the crew module uprighting system bags, the 5 inflatable airbags that will be inflated with helium to maintain its upright position as it bobs in the Pacific before the recovery forces reach the crew. About 15 minutes after splashdown is when we expect power down integrity systems, at which point the recovery teams will begin to make their way toward the vehicle to set up that inflatable life raft called the front porch, buttressed alongside the spacecraft. That will be the precursor to the opening of the hatch and the extraction of the crew members, one by one, into that raft, giving them a chance to get their land legs back as they feel the first sensations of Earth's gravity in 9 days and their high-speed return to Earth, with their peak speed reaching some 24,661 miles an hour.
Houston, Christina's got an amazing view of home planet out the side hatch window, and it's lighting up the cabin, and it's just a great blue hue to it. It's beautiful.
That is amazing. When you kicked us out of the cabin, we turned on one of the SAW cameras and also had the Earth's reflection on one of the overviews. It was very cool.
Oh man, that is amazing.
This is Mission Control, Houston. Commander Reed Wiseman reveling about the view of the Earth from a distance of less than 17,000 nautical miles now.
The cabin audio cable and boom mic are in F3 large stowed.
We copy.
The view that Reed Wiseman is describing is the view you're looking at right now as the Earth grows larger in the field of view with each passing moment. We're about 29 minutes away from the start of the NASA Plus coverage, joining our 24/7 YouTube coverage as a simulcast for the remainder of the evening through the time the crew is on the deck of the USS Mertha and in medical bay. So we'll be looking forward to additional reports and other video coverage from the deck of the USS John Mertha and other assets in the splashdown zone as we continue toward splashdown and the return of Integrity's astronauts just 2 hours and 5 minutes from now. Couple of minor updates, just tweaks by a second or so for some of the key activities that will be coming up. Flight Dynamics providing us with some updated information. The start of the blackout period, just a 1 second change. It's going to be estimated now at 6:53 and 54 seconds p.m. Central Time. The duration remains 6 minutes. That blackout will end at 6:59 and 55 seconds p.m. all Central Time. We expect to begin entering the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 400,000 feet at 6:53 and 30 seconds p.m. And 1 second difference now in our splashdown time, if everything unfolds the way we believe it will. Splashdown now scheduled at 7:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Central Time, 7:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:07 and 8 seconds p.m. Pacific Time at the splashdown zone off the coast of San Diego. And one other update, the latest weather forecast from the Spaceflight Meteorology Group passed on to Flight Director Rick Henfling, calls for the clouds in the splashdown zone to be in the process of dissipating. The winds are somewhat reduced, now just 6 knots. The wave height's still less than 4 feet. All go forecast. So once again, the stage is set as Integrity continues its inexorable march toward a splashdown in the Pacific 2 hours from now. 16,000 nautical miles away from the Earth. We are just 1 hour and 26 minutes away from crew module, service module separation, followed by a raise burn to tilt the aft end of the vehicle up ever so slightly and improve its angle of attack into the Earth's atmosphere as a mitigating action to reduce heat loads on the heat shield of the vehicle. This is all pre-planned, pre-flight. There's no differentiation between what we had designed this mission to do. We are expecting to reach the first traces of Earth's atmosphere at entry interface and 400,000 feet above the planet 1 hour and 45 minutes from now.
Integrity, Houston. Cabin temp cold soaking is initiated.
Copy that, Jackie. CO2 is 5.5, and we are still doing good on board. Christina and Jeremy are beginning suit down.
Houston copies all. Integrity is in for entry checklist.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Lead. With this time to EI, we expect you're about to be stepping into steps 9 and 10 in the entry checklist. In step 10 for the SIP switch config, there are no deltas.
No deltas to step 10. Copy all.